The Chicago Bears were just hit with a big Travis Kelce problem. You're probably thinking, what does Travis Kelce have to do with the Bears? There's definitely a connection to Kansas City if you're a Bears fan. Everybody's talking about the Bears signing Kansas City guard Trey Smith, right? Talking about like it's a done deal, and it's mostly due to the cap situation that the Chiefs are facing. So everyone's assuming the Bears are getting Trey Smith in free agency, right? I'm saying not so fast. The Bears have a Kelce problem. His decision on his retirement, it can really screw up the Bears' plans way beyond their interest in Smith, but it also greatly influences whether Kansas City can stop him from hitting the market. Just lots of surprising ripples from his decision here. I'm going to cover how this is not only a money situation for Kansas City, but it's also a pretty unfortunate timing issue for the Chicago Bears, and that's regarding making a very quick free agency decision once free agency opens on March 12th, just a month away. So Trey Smith, a former Tennessee Vols standout. He's been predicted to be a free agent in March, and that's after spending the first 4 seasons of his pro career with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a really big get. The former Vol, he's expected to become one of the highest paid offensive linemen in the NFL this offseason, and that's after starting 80 games at guard, including the playoffs for the Chiefs over 4 seasons. So let's start by looking at the cap situation Kansas City finds himself in. All of this has been covered by Waddle and Sylvie yesterday, but I'm going to go to the sports mockery story to give you a visual. Also on this page is a link to the full walkthrough that Sylvie provided, and I'm just going to kind of scroll down here. So right now, the Chiefs are barely above the cap at only $113,000. Keeping Smith would be a huge ask, right? It would require a ton of cap gymnastics. So if Kelce chose to retire, let's look at that. The Chiefs would get up to $17 million in salary cap relief, and that's depending on when the decision took place. That might provide just enough room for the Chiefs to fit Trey Smith into the cap. As if Kelce wasn't kind of annoying enough, I find him kind of annoying, to be honest. This just takes a cake because the window he has to decide is even more problematic. You see, Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs tight end, he has a soft deadline of March 15th, 2025, and that's his decision that he has to make regarding whether he's going to retire or he's going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs for another year. At the deadline, he's due an $11.5 million roster bonus that he's owed. So the soft deadline is March 15th, and it's going to give the Chiefs approximately $17 million in total. So there's kind of an overlap with the beginning of free agency, and this is the issue. Let's take a look. On Monday, March 10th at noon, teams are permitted to contact and begin negotiating contracts with the agents of players who are unrestricted free agents, right? This is the legal tampering period. It ends at 4 p.m. on March 12th. That's when free agency signing, that period officially begins. So with these 2 dates, you can see that leaves a potential overlap of 3 to 5 days of uncertainty, and that could greatly affect what the Bears do as far as retooling this offensive line. And I think at the very least, this is going to be a litmus test, a test of how changed this front office really is, whether they can navigate free agency without putting all their eggs in the Trey Smith basket, and also show their ability to pivot if they have to. We've just got to get this right. And there's also a thought here that's making the rounds, and I'll cover this. The Chiefs could also do a sign and trade situation with the extra cap room that could make it even more difficult to get a deal done. They've done this before with L'Jarius Sneed, if you remember. But Brad Biggs, he's from the Chicago Tribune, you know that. He disagrees that this scenario would ever happen, and here's why, and I quote, "It's possible the Chiefs would use the franchise tag to orchestrate a tag and trade with Smith. But offensive tackles, guards, and centers, these guys are all considered the same for tag calculations. So there's a hefty number for an interior lineman. So based on what I've heard previously, I'd say there's still a good chance Smith becomes a free agent. And if he does, you can expect him to reset the market as the top paid guard in the league." So let's keep going. Let's add 2 more contributing factors on top of all this as well. Now that the Chiefs have had their O-line exposed in the Super Bowl, you guys watch that, they got destroyed. I think it's possible that they might be even more likely to move heaven and earth to sign Trey Smith, regardless of what Kelce does. He's their best lineman. While a motivation to let him walk away, that might be a likely prospect of getting a third rounder as a compensatory pick to give them further motivation to let him walk in free agency. So all in all, just a lot of moving parts. I just wanted to report on the possibilities here. But I think we can all agree, hopefully the decision by Kelce, it comes super soon. So at least the timeline uncertainty in free agency can be cleared up for the Bears. And honestly, deciding quickly would also be the best for the Kansas City Chiefs as well, so they can make plans. So let's kind of moving forward. Let's see Trey Smith is not available. What would be the potential pivots for Chicago to go to in free agency? We're kind of looking at the Kelce thing. It shouldn't disrupt at all the Bears' pursuit of Falcons center Drew Dahlman. I mean, he's been a reliable starter for the Falcons for 3 seasons going. He's been a top 5 center that's via PFF for each of the last 2 seasons. This guy absolutely needs to be a Bear, and we have the means to pay him. So go get that done. That doesn't matter. But some guard choices outside of that. We've got Lions right guard Kevin Zeitler. I mean, he'd be a short-term option, a perfect fit. Ben Johnson knows him well from Detroit, right? But the guy's 35 years old. That would be, it'd likely be a 1-year stopgap for him, but it's a good option. Colts right guard Will Fries. This guy's coming off a nasty leg injury, but in his prime still at 27 years old. He was on pace to be the second best guard in the league before the injury. Word is not completely out of whether he's going to be back for the regular season or if he's going to be the player that he is. He's projected to have a full recovery. So kind of put a pin in that. Keep a look out for Colts right guard Will Fries. Then we've got Eagles Super Bowl champion Mekhi Becton. This guy really got his career on track with a 1-year deal in Philly. The guy's 26 years old, once again, still in his prime. He's a former first rounder, but he just thrived for Philly after they kicked him back inside to play on their line. He could be possibly a good choice for Chicago as well. And then we've got our old friend, James Daniels. A lot of people are bandying his name around as a possible target for the Chicago Bears, but people aren't really thinking about where he's at. He had an Achilles injury in week 4. To me, that's no thanks, but he was looking absolutely incredible with the Steelers last year, and he's a rookie that we chose not to give another contract to, and we let walk, and he's really blossomed into a really good lineman for Pittsburgh. We've got another stopgap option, and that's Zach Martin of the Cowboys. The guy's 34 years old. He's had some injury issues. I mean, there's just not a ton of great guard options in free agency. If Trey Smith isn't available, you can see that greatly impacts what the Bears can build for this line via free agency. But also, I think doing this exercise really brings something to the forefront, really bears fruit, that the Bears absolutely need to pay Trey Smith what he wants to come here the second free agency opens if he's available. And also, we need to spend draft capital on the offensive line big time. It's not the greatest free agency class that we've ever seen as Chicago Bears fans. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that Travis Kelce is going to retire? Do you think that Trey Smith is the guy that we've got to just throw money at him to get him to come here in Chicago? I think judging by the other options that are available, and also you draft guys in the NFL draft, they're not always sure things absolutely the first year, but there are some really good choices. You guys let me know, bear down, and we will talk soon. See you.